Hi everybody, I'm Jimmy, Feet Peace, most positive community throughout social media. So, positive. How do we define positive? How do we define positive? Who cares? Apparently I don't.
Yeah, so three types of women are my drug, and that's why I stay away from them. Irish women. So I'm Norwegian, right? And the Irish are essentially the babies of the Norwegians, right? They're like the beautiful young ones that went off into the distance and migrated down south. So the Irish women, I would say British women, but I really don't say that about that out loud too often. The Russian women, I'd say that about sums it up. Irish women and Russian women are definitely my drug of choice, and that's why I stay away from them as much as possible. I really do. I'm such a sucker for them. It's not even funny. Hello. So I quit smoking, and then the other night when somebody stole my gray backpack, I ended up on a little journey for the rest of the night until the morning with a couple of these guys that just needed some support. There was one guy, he was a former officer, and another guy was a military guy, and neither of them had anywhere to go. They didn't have any guidance, and they were unfortunately very strung out. So I had nothing else to do. I was really pissed off, and what calms me down when I'm upset is helping people. So I ended up leading them on a journey the rest of the night, kept them from getting into any more trouble, and then we kind of just walked around until the morning came. And that's definitely not my vibe. That's not what I do. But and they helped me too, because they helped calm me down. Like I was complaining and angry the whole night, until about I say 2-3 a.m. And they listened and calmed me down. So I was very thankful. And I'll tell you something, to keep myself socially compartmentalized and separated, like disassociated from most people in, the arena of social life, I was taught to kind of distance myself and like fake that I'm less capable or equipped or competent to keep women away from me, essentially. So I spent a long time like not having sex and not, I wasn't with anybody till I was 25. Till I was 25 years old. And then I learned why they didn't want me having sex with anybody. Because it's very distracting. When you're supposed to be hyper-focused, sex is very distracting. Now for spies and people that are like really involved and get dug into the local communities, sex is a necessity. Absolute necessity. Like you have to have sex with people for the sake of endorphin release and social integration. So for me now, I mean, I'm just a basic civilian, and I want to have sex, but I still have that trained into me to just act stupid. I do, to act stupid and act embarrassing. I am falling out, man. I actually slept last night, believe it or not, and that's how I know that I'm burnt out, because last night I slept. I can't even compliment. I can't. Apparently, I'm being told by the professionals that I'm not even allowed to compliment my audience or flirt with them because it's a conflict of interest. This is America. If I want to flirt or have sex with one of my fans, what did you do? What about Johnny Cash? I mean, come on. Right? The king. The man in black. He had sex with his fans all the time. Until he met June Carter, that's about all he did was have sex with his fans and do speed. But guys, you gotta chill about the whole like gangster stuff. I don't like it. I even hate to bring it up, but you gotta understand. Today, I got rid of the person that runs the criminal organization that had my backpack stolen. Don't do it. I told you not to take from me. And so I had him retired. And by retired, I literally mean retired. I offered him over $1 billion. I offered him $1.5 billion to retire from his organization. And I had someone very convince him. And so he left that criminal organization and passed it off to the next person. And now they're going to have to restructure their entire organization or be taken over by the United States government. And be, disbanded. And by taking over, I obviously mean, having their criminal organization disbanded and the resources allotted amongst our people. So that'll take effect over the next year or so. But next time, don't take my backpack. I don't play. I don't have a lot. When I have a lot, let me tell you something. When let's say that the universe blesses me and I get to be a millionaire one day. You take my backpack. I never had a backpack. That's the way it is for me. Like, it is what it is. Like, and I said this to a police officer and he disagreed with me, and I totally get it. But, when someone had stolen that gray backpack, I said to him, "Ooh, you okay?" Take both of his legs. Both of his legs. Thank you. What do you call it? And get him out of town before you do it. As I was saying, he disagreed with me. The police officer disagreed with me about, the theft of the backpack. And the thing is, the way I see it is that somebody obviously needed that gray backpack more than I did. And that's why they stole it, and he didn't agree with that, but that's how I see it. I was just taught not to be obsessed with material possessions. And so that's how it is for me. I'm not very attached to material possessions. I'm attached to material possessions in so much as making sure that I have what I need, but beyond that, it's not much of a problem. So for right now, so when I say take both of his legs, I mean find him a chiropractor, because the dude couldn't even stand up straight. So I'm a healer, and when I'm pissed off, I'm going to say something that sounds like I'm being super mean, but I literally mean the opposite. I just wanted to scare him because he scared me. So, matching the energy. But I'm also, you have to know me. If you don't know me, I'm the type of person who will follow and unfollow. And I don't care if you don't like that. I'll follow people that special follow me. And then once I get to a certain number, that if I can't keep up with people, then I'll go back and I'll see. And so what I've already done was, at first I just followed everybody back. Thanks for the hearts. Everybody back that special followed me. And then I went through and I looked at who had a real photo and who didn't. So I unfollowed the people that don't have a real photo. And then next, in a little while, when we reach maybe like 100 special follows, then I will probably unfollow the people that don't have like information in their profile about them. And I'm not expecting you to. It's a matter of safety, okay? So welcome to the broadcast. Randy, welcome to BEO. So my life is rather complex. I've had to work very hard to gain the privilege of being permitted to exist in the public, as opposed to having to, recede and live a private life for the rest of my life. So I take the extra measures to protect my audience too. And so that means if I can't properly identify you based on my level of social attention within the social media atmosphere, then I have to be more selective about who I follow, just for the sake of your privacy and safety. Especially being a third-party app. If this were Instagram, or it were Facebook, or say Snapchat, or X, it'd be different. It'd be no big deal. But here on BeGo, it's a third-party app. It's not owned by an American company. And the same deal, afternoon, sir. And same deal with TikTok, is those apps are volatile and unsafe. I use them because I know how to utilize it in such a fashion that keeps me safe and keeps my audience safe. But most people don't. So I have to be very selective about what kind of content I put out, and also how I behave on the platform. Like, if you notice, I don't put a lot of exterior photos or locationally based photos on the app. Like in my posts, I'll take screenshots that the app takes itself when it recommends to take screenshots to go into my feed. And that is all protocol in reference to privacy and safety. So there is a lot that goes into it. Apps, the mainstream apps they are automatorily augmented, meaning the algorithm itself makes sure that you are safe and maintaining your privacy. Whereas these third-party apps do not have algorithms that are nearly as advanced, and so you have to be a little more safe and careful with them. You have to use your own, intuition and protocol to keep everybody safe. Thanks for the 500 hearts, Maggie. Do I like BeGo better? No. No, I use Bigo because it's 100% live stream and it doesn't save the broadcasts. This is a testing ground for me. This is a place where I can experiment and learn more about myself and how the the live streaming environment works in 2024. It says you're just new to using it. Yeah, I spend the majority of my time on Bigo. I spend the secondary amount of time on TikTok, and they are the two least recommended apps that I would say that you should use. I mostly spend my time on Bigo and TikTok to draw people in, to pull them to platforms that are American owned. And that's where I would prefer my audience to be. But if you're on here, if I have the ability to gain your attention and maintain your attention and then draw you to one of the more mainstream apps, then that's what I'll do. So I decided, because I got an hour to blow, about 45 minutes to blow, that I would come live with this for a little while. Darn it, I wish my vape wasn't dead. I'm not getting another one, I promise you. But I'm running this one into the ground. Excuse me. What's shaking? My ass. Walking all day. Oh, I'm sorry. My butt. My butt. Gotta be, socially correct. Who's excited for whatever disaster comes after the end of the night? Who's excited? I can't wait. I'm not nervous at all about, Chelsea, thank you. Sunflower, welcome to the, thank you. Sunflower, welcome to the broadcast. Jerome, welcome to the broadcast. Yeah, so maybe I should have just titled the broadcast something about the election, but I didn't. Instead, I'm kind of just sitting here talking to you, listening to the rats rustle, and I guess I would assume make love in the bushes. Because literally, they're you can hear them going nonstop. And I just would kind of figure they're probably doing something really interesting in there, because there's no way they're still eating. What are they eating? Did they find a chicken leg somewhere? Did they find a full chicken leg somewhere, and they just, as a group, decided to grab onto it and just drag it into the bushes? Anyway. I don't know what else to do. We're just kind of sitting here, me and you, forever and all that stuff, I'm just taking the time to clean my nails while we're sitting here, because my nails are super grody. Did I almost say grody? I did. My nails are super gross. Let's hide. Let's pretend we need to hide. Did you know that it's illegal for anyone to take your picture without your consent, including the police? That includes jail. Just so you know. I saw so many beautiful people tonight. Guys, I'm starting to get a crush on a live streamer. I am. I'm not even kidding you. I'm pretty sure she has a boyfriend. I'm not going to say who, but there's another streamer on here, and I think I have an internet crush. She would probably hate me in real life, so I'm not even going to try, but I totally go into her broadcast and just sit there and fucking watch her. And it's so creepy. I feel so, guys, I'll live stream and I'll make videos, but I feel like such a weirdo watching people's live streams. I don't know how you do it. I feel so creepy trying to watch people live stream. But she's so cute. Okay, so there's one I have a crush on, and there's a few that I think are really cute. And I'll just sit there, and I'll have my volume off. I won't even know what they're saying, and I'm just sitting there staring at their face. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so pretty. And I'll just sit there and watch their lips move and watch them throw their hands all over the place. I don't even know what they're saying, but I watch. And I wonder how many of you do that with me. I do wonder.
Oh. Yes. I was listening to the
Guten Morgen. No, I'm just kidding.
You done?
But how do you, buenos.
Yes.
No, is it dias for the morning?
Yeah.
Buenos dias.
Buenos
All right.
días a todos.
Buenos dias a todos.
Yes. Good morning to everyone. Everyone.
Good morning, everyone. One world, you know it. VPs for life. Oh, okay. Mm. Mm. I am from America. You were in Long Beach last week. All right. A lot of people going to Long Beach. Where's that chick that was talking to me from Long Beach? She was beautiful. She was very nice to me. To my ladies here, here's the thing. If you live here and you're like committed to me in the broadcast and you haven't shown up in person yet, like what are we doing? Like what's going on here? Why haven't we hung out yet? That's what I want to know. Bublik, hello, Luca, Estrell, Sunyang, Chuan. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do my best to pronounce y'all's names, but it's tough. Where you're from is probably easy. Where I'm from, you know, we know basic names. We got Bob, we got Jim, we got Joe. So I'm still learning. You gotta bear with me. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a guy that kind of walks everywhere. There's a lot of guys like that, not a lot like me. But I will, do my best to keep the broadcast running. But I just don't know always going to happen in a day's time. I'm exhausted, as you see with the way I'm talking. I am so exhausted. But I will try to keep up with you guys and not get lazy. Yeah, that's the thing of it is I always got something going on. But I feel bad when I don't come say hi because I know you guys wait on it. And so I try to stop in. If y'all ain't got me on Clapper, I'm doing Clapper. Which, it's funny because, I got into these mainstream apps and I got to the point where I'm mainstream. But nothing can beat that, the homey feeling of coming onto these apps that are still developing. Like we could come here and hang out and it's normal. It's like regular life. And I don't get a whole lot of it anymore. So when you guys show up and you're hanging out with me, it actually means a lot more than you might realize. So thanks for coming around. Jahoon, thank you for the gold bean. Guys, for whatever, if you don't know, gold beans are how I eat. So when you put gold beans in a broadcast, when you send gifts, they transfer to money. And then for that money, I'm able to go and get myself something to eat. So like right now, I'm hanging out with a friend. And they're, here, give me 2 seconds. We're actually going to order some food right now. And you guys are making sure we get food in our bellies. Hit me up, especially if you're someone that is more into media. It's preferable. That way we could link up and collaborate. I'm always open to that. But I will say that I haven't gotten to this point with a lot of creators. They don't come and collaborate with me because what used to happen, and so that's why it's tough to be meeting up with people. Their fan bases end up coming over to my platform, and then they lose most of their viewers. And that's not my fault. It's not. But like I said, if you're someone that's you're looking to shave the fat from your broadcast, and you just want to have the people around that you can trust the most, and that are diehard dedicated to you, come hang out with me. It's always fun. And like I said, you might have that your people are coming over my way, but I do my best to make sure that you end up with more viewership. It gets you a lot of traffic, and from that traffic, you'll get new people that are going to be more dedicated to you as you continue to build your platform. Yeah, I'll tell you, you guys are a blessing in so many ways that I couldn't even begin to describe what a blessing you are, because I've had situations that I've had to power through, and you guys are always there, and every time that I always end up in some sort of situation, you guys always come through, every time. Whatever it is that's needed for me to make it through the next day, into the next situation, to keep doing what I do, you guys always make sure to keep me on the horse, and I got a deep level of gratitude for you. I don't know, what do I like to do in my spare time? What is spare time? I don't know. I don't really have any. You know, I'll tell you what, something that I love about where I'm at is they're my type of people. They're the people that do whatever you got to do to get done what you got to get done, and you tolerate whatever you have to keep moving on in your own life. It's freaking awesome. It's a part of how I'm keeping myself safe. Growing up, those are the only people I ever associated with, even into my adult years. The only association I ever had with people that didn't live a normal life was when I was forced to. And now I'm coming out of that. And I'm coming back to normal. So I'm bringing my environment back to normal as best as I could. And I get better every day. I broadcast a lot. Pretty much all day, every day. Some days I take breaks. Most days I take breaks. Bum around, rum around. Oh, that's even better than the other stuff. Oh my god, that's good. What else? I must have put like extra stuff in there. Oh, it's just a lot of salt. That's not a lot of salt. Yeah, this is actually really, really healthy. I will be keeping this and getting more of it. If anybody wants to send me more of this, thank you for sending this. Freaking delicious. Give me 1 second. Gotta get some Lysol. Spilled a little broth. Thanks. I'm sorry about being a little distracted. I'm just having to deal with some messages because I finally feel safe enough to like black girls again. So I like all types of women, but I just have a lot of people in my family who are really fucking racist. And even coming over here, it's like still tough, but I just have a lot of people angry at me right now for liking black chicks. And I followed some, and they're fucking pissed. Really fucking pissed. They'll get over it, but it's gonna take some time. Oh, contrary to the rumors that are out there, I did not ever either join a criminal organization, run with criminals in any way, shape, or form, or like I've never been in a gang or anything, and I didn't run with a particular group of people, even when they tried to force me to. I wouldn't do it. I lived. I was pretty cocky too. I was surprised I lived, because they were giving me shit for fucking with black people, and I was pretty much just like, like, you realize what a bad name you're giving for it. Like, you're giving us a really bad name by being that way. It's 2023, and like, it's time for us to evolve and mature and grow up. And honestly, not liking black people or like people of any other color really is the reason why people think like a lot of white boys are so stupid. It is. And we're not stupid. We're pretty fucking smart. We're actually, I'm not being elitist, but we actually do statistically have much higher IQs. But that has more to do with like dominance culturally in history than it has to do with cultural appropriation more than it does have to do with genes. And the dominance has more to do, at least with most white people, the dominance had more to do with not happenstance, but just the flow of things, let's call it, over human history. We weren't just like, how do I put it? We weren't dominant because we're dominant. We were dominant by circumstance. We always had the upper hand and then kept the upper hand. And those tides are beginning to shift. But the biggest issue for my people is as those tides shift, it's the difference between my kind of white people and the typical kind of white people is becoming more obvious. And it's a little bit of a stressor for my people because we have managed to avoid war for like the entirety of our existence on this planet. We've always integrated. We've never like gone to war with people or anything. We move in and eventually, just take the beating and earn acceptance and then integrate. But like now we just, like I said, it's like we're trying to teach people, but people don't want to listen. But they're getting better. We're trying to find every possible way to educate them. Yeah, it's not, and that's the other thing is like most of humanity sees things like as there's a possibility for superiority. It actually is a fallacy. Like there's biological superiority. There is, but that's not really being superior in an ethereal sense. Like you're not really actually the alpha or the dominant. Like we really are all equal. It's just really the concept is deeply difficult to accept as the type of creatures that we are. We are competitive creatures. So we don't really like to accept that we're all the same. We're like, no, we're not. Look at you. Look at me. Look at everything that's different. I'm like, motherfucker, we're the same thing. It's a big planet. Get over it. You just don't like the fact that we're that easily affected. We're so different literally because of where we grew up. It really isn't anything else. Like I've had people come to the point of trying to convince me that they're like from other planets and people who think they're like different species and like all this different stuff, just like maladaptive forms of attempted ways to to expound upon their independence and their individuality, where the reality is, yes, you are your own individual, but you don't have to be coming up with all these fancy ideas. I mean, you could for the fun of it, but the moment you start telling me that that's really what you are, and we don't have enough evidence to prove that yet, it's because I care that I think it's important to slow our roll. So, for example, me personally, in my family, there's experience with certain things of a different kind of like just life was really weird for my family for a couple of generations. And I'll talk about that. I've had that conversation, but I still sit here and be like, I still allow, even though the evidence says that the probability is that it's true. Nature is nature, facts are facts, and based on what I have, I don't really acknowledge the possibility entirely. I kind of, like I said, like I step down to earth and be what I interact with what I consider to be common sense. like in my own, like when I talk to myself, right? And I have conversations about like, what do you call it? Organizing my intellect and teaching myself, becoming self-taught, more self-taught. I make an effort to keep my feet on the ground because it's very easy, especially if you're intelligent, to go off into the clouds. It's far too easy. And you don't want to. You really don't. Maybe a flight or two, but make sure you come back down to the ground before the end of the day. That's all I'm going to say. Isha, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for the follow. Oh, man. Yes, it is chicken broth, yes. It's bones. So it's like they take the chicken after they die and they turn it into a liquid, like melt it into a liquid or whatever. Yeah, so I'm drinking a chicken. Very fancy. And it's organic. USDA certified. That's what I was thinking about going into. I was thinking about getting an education in agriculture because I feel like that would be a good idea. I'm probably going to end up homesteading at some point. Because if I went to another country, there'd be all these people trying to come onto my land. I'd have to kill a lot of people. I really don't want to. So, like, if I do it here in America, I can homestead, and then I'm safe. And I could focus on, like, just the crop and actually just doing the job. I'm not scared of a lot of people, but when a billionaire has the ability to get you put in jail, and then you find out he actually could put you in jail when, like, nobody could, makes you a little nervous. And people are like, we got you. Like, I don't think you fucking understand. You are propagandized by the media you consume when it's baselined in the idea that every large thing is bad. And it's not that way. I'm a good person. I'm actually a really good human being. And I'm good to people. I really am. I'm extremely generous. I love people. I care. And my one flaw is that I pick on people a lot, okay? Like, especially if someone antagonizes me, I'll freaking play with them a little too much. Myra, welcome to Vigo. But, yeah, it was a big loss for, like, humanity. When I got incarcerated, it was a big loss for everybody. And the scumbags got their day. But I worked it out, and even the guy who pulled the strings to get me put away, they caught him inside of a week, and he was put down like a fucking dog. So, you see, what people don't understand about the reality of things is the good guys don't make an example of anybody. We don't. You know, we handle business. And that's that. Never even met the guy. And that's what bothers me, you know. That was the most dishonorable thing I feel that I've ever done. Is letting that man die. And I never looked him in the face a single time. And to some people, like, yeah, like that, what the fuck's wrong with you? No, like, death before dishonor. It's kind of a thing. And it's not a code that I live by for any reasons that have anything to do with anything other than what's between me and my God. I have a very, very individual, personal relationship with my God. And I don't involve anybody with my relationship with God. No church, no group, no friends, no family, no anybody. It's me and God. And I try to set that example for people. It's awesome to share your God. My God is a very selfish and jealous God. Very. And thus, I am very selfish and jealous with my God. I don't like to share my God. So, if you've ever heard the song by Bring Me the Horizon, what song was it? I don't remember the name of the song. But in the song, I had heard the phrase, Hell is real. Believe me, I've seen it. If heaven is real, let's keep it a secret. No one needs to know. And that sums up my relationship with God. I just don't. I don't like to share my God. I'll share everything else with you, but you try to come near my God, and I'll cut you out of my life like that. Sorry, got a little emotional there. Thanks for following along. But this is the most of my God that I've ever shared with you. I want to share more, but I don't feel safe to share more. I'm sharing more every day. Like you will find my God through me. Whatever I show you of my life is some form of reflection of my God. My next step, like I said, has been to be less racist, to not feel like I have to be racist and actually live the life that I want to be living, not a life that people are trying to force me to live and saying that they're going to throw me in prison if I fuck with black people. Because yes, that is what's being insinuated, and I can easily prove it. And I got a fucking problem with that. It's not the people I got a problem with, it's the racism. I don't need you to stop being racist. I need you to stop telling me to be racist and trying to coerce me to be racist. That's what I got a fucking problem with.
Ugh. Here's the thing about coming back in regular society is like people were paranoid enough before COVID, and now I swear people are like pigeons. Like they're and they're big and tough. Every one of them is huge and tough and scary with the phone that they use to record and call the cops and not do anything themselves. Now don't worry, trust me, I'm a big advocate for using the cops, but I'm also, not either crazy or a wimp. But like, I mean, it's just wild. Like, sorry. I said people just like, they're just not okay. And that's the worst of it, is like they will think that you're not okay. Like if you like, this is the official brain capacity of modern midday America. They are more prone to believing you're sane if you dress like them than if you are like them. Mind blowing. Like it's anyway. Anyway, it's just, like I said, it's not even worth it anymore. Like, the stuff that I'm seeing makes me want to leave the country. And I love it here, so I don't want to leave the country. It's kind of sad. And, like, people get so defensive about it, too. They're like, no, things are good here. Well, I mean, they're good for me, but if they were good for you, you wouldn't be so panicky and paranoid all the time when there's literally nothing bad even happening around you, like, at all. And they're like, but there's scary people around. I'm like, at least they don't shoot each other anymore in front of you. Like, literally. Things are, like, 3 to 4 times better in reference to certain areas where people are paranoid. But maybe that's why they're paranoid, because, like, the crime just stopped. Yeah, maybe that's why they're paranoid. But, like, things are so docile and crime-free, and people are more paranoid than they were before. When there was, like, stuff going on. And especially in areas like this. Like, where I'm at right now, this used to be, like, I'm sitting outside where I'm sitting. A year ago or 2 years ago, I could not be sitting right here. I could not safely just sit here. And now I'm sitting here and it's safe and the people are paranoid. It's totally backwards. You think before they would have been paranoid. No, before there could have been a body laying out on the street and it wasn't a big deal. And now there's never one and they're terrified. I couldn't explain it to you if I wanted to. Do I use a filter? No, I don't. J-Dog, thanks for the hearts. Jose says, would you rather watch a tree grow or a knee grow? Oh, that's horrible. Dude, no one ever gets me. I can't believe you just got me. Goodbye. Sorry, I can't have that in here. Oh my gosh. Screw you, dude. That was bad. Oh, by the way, I do technically have somewhere to sleep. But if there's anybody interested, where I am at right now is probably the best place to find a place to stay. If anybody has an interest in putting me up in a hotel, this is the area where that could happen. And I could get a few nights rest, because I am probably going to be in this area until like Friday, because someone says they're gonna come get me, give me a ride out west. But yeah, but like, yo, to anybody ruffling feathers and trying to get like, yo, you don't realize, and then the worst part is they don't even care. You know, that's the worst part. Like, they literally, when I tell you, don't even value their own human lives. That they're just like, they're like, this isn't happening, it's not this way, things are the way that I say they are. Like, I couldn't even tell you how freaking lost in their own heads they are. And I can't believe I let it go this far. You know, thankfully it wasn't my responsibility to begin with, so I don't have to be held responsible for their responsibility. But it is kind of mind blowing. But like I said, I'm just letting it go and walking away. I'm pretty sure I'm literally going to be one of the only people walking away that doesn't get incarcerated or worse. So follow suit, have the common sense, and walk away like me. It's smart. You just say whatever and you keep moving. But see, this is what happens, is like, things have gotten out of hand in reference to me because the government is only now getting around to taking care of these terrorist people. I'm not even kidding you. Like, these internet terrorist people, they're only now getting around to it. So like, I'll go where I'm going and do whatever I'm doing, and you'll have freaking internet terrorists, which is what they are now, because they escalated from just being people who would they would call and make up stories about you, or this or that, or like, pay off local government to make up stories about you. And like, for real, like, I've been through it. I'm not even kidding you. And they'll spread gossip, and they'll just do crazy stuff, like crazy. I'm not even kidding, like totally insane. And then they'll try to get the authorities involved, and they'll get you swatted. But now it's to the point of literal terrorism. Like, the government has let them get away with localized terrorism so often that they are now getting to the point where they're like doing stuff that's beyond federal, like where it's so bad that they're having to have like international police involved, Interpol involved on U.S. soil, which is ridiculous. And it's all cyber terrorism. And you'd think like, all right, what are they doing? Are they doing something to a building? No, literally, the maximum that they're doing, they're just doing it this much and sounding this crazy when they do it, is they'll call establishments and like strike fear in the hearts of the people. You know what I mean? Like, just not just disturbing the peace, but literally terrorizing the businesses. So like, trying to cause problems for, whether it's the broadcaster, the live streamer, the YouTuber, the celebrity, whoever it might be. So they'll literally call the business and make up all these stories, say all this stuff, try to relate it back to whatever stories they sold, or people they paid off to create stories. And I mean, straight up, like, when I say like made up out of nowhere, straight up. And they'll take it as far as terrorizing the business and terrorizing the community and terrorizing the local government and law enforcement. And it's like, the local law enforcement and the businesses and that, they're just like, all right, we'll just let it go. There's one more time we let it, like, you can't let it go anymore. You guys got to realize, like, you got to start doing something about it. Like, you're not going to get rid of me. They already tried that. Didn't work. Tried to tell them it wasn't going to work. You're not going to get rid of me. You're not going to get rid of other live streamers. You're not going to get rid of celebrities. I'm pretty sure that we play a role in mainstream society. You're not going to get rid of us. You should probably be getting rid of the criminals, the people who are actually, terrorizing the public. And you do that by, and this is a shout out to local law enforcement officers and, local businesses and whatnot, is FBI hotline. Literally reach out to the FBI. And if you're not getting a response from the FBI, look up international police. I'm not kidding. Look up Interpol. So like I said, just get in touch with federal law enforcement and get rid of them. Because I can tell you, literally, I've had to fight super hard to keep myself on track because of those kind of people for a long time. And the government's now just finally starting to get a rein on them. But if you want to be helpful, you don't be helpful by closing McDonald's 2 hours early, or making IHOP only open for DoorDash delivery for the day because you're scared of the guy who didn't do anything, and you're not doing anything about the people who you think are warning you of something but are actually terrorists, and you are so uninformed that you aren't even aware of it. So in the future, the smarter thing is to reach out to the FBI and let the authorities handle the business they're supposed to handle. And that's something we should have been doing 2, 3, 4 years ago. But instead, we decided to go terrorist and do more terrorist stuff to stop the terrorists, which only made more problems on a domestic basis. So now, at the end of the day, as usual, because people think they're smarter than the government, I don't necessarily like, having to turn to government, but I'm smart enough to recognize and understand that they've been doing things hundreds of years longer than I have, or we have, and they're gonna be able to do it better than we do. End of story. We're not gonna be able to do it better than them until we learn how, and we don't do it by acting like a bunch of animals. I'm just saying how it is. Like, there's a reason why people in my industry survive, because we keep it civilized in a situation and in an arena where most people are either just locking down or wigging out. We keep it kosher to some level, or we fight back while everyone else is afraid of us, and then we're the ones fighting off the ones that you guys can't deal with or figure out how to deal with. So in touch with some underground splinter cell group that could track down international cyber terrorists, you should probably just reach out to legitimate law enforcement, and you're going to have to go above the local level. And in some cases, like in my situation, you're probably going to have to go above the federal level. Like even the FBI, the federal government. Now here, I'll tell you something about the federal government. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, they legitimately think they have it all. They have it totally figured out. They really do. And there's no possibility that they're wrong, even when a good 70% of the time in reference to cyber stuff, they are usually, not having enough information. It's not a matter of incapability. It's just a matter of funding. But like I said, reach out to Interpol. I'm not kidding. Reach out to international police about cyber terrorism. Because it might not seem like that big of a deal, but you have to recognize how much it affects local business, how much it affects the economy, especially with the advent of TikTok. And after COVID hit, it actually really affects how the flow of things. Okay. It might not seem like a big deal if 3, 4, 5, 6 businesses close down a couple hours early because somebody's coming through town. But how many times are you willing to give in to them and shut down your business and lose that much money? There's going to be somebody else comes through town, and as things become more populated and more people get into this industry, you're going to have more and more people doing it. So eventually you're going to have to do something about the people who are making it harder for you to do business. And the customer in front of you, or the guy that's getting your business more traffic, or the guy who is literally just passing through town, is not the problem. And you're not going to get rid of the guy who is on your side. Even if it's a pain in your butt, the reality is the real pain in your butt is the freaking terrorist who's calling you and scaring the living hell out of you. Your customer is not the problem. The person calling you and scaring the living hell out of you is the problem. Making an effort to get attention off of them and put attention onto, ergo, me. It's an attack on my profile and what I do. It's an attack on the business. It's an attack on America as a whole, literally, in an economical sense. That's what makes them terrorists. They're economical cyber terrorists. It's where they will literally attack a business. And they attack a business by trying to turn the citizen or the customer into the target, get the business to turn against the customer, try and figure out how to get the customer to turn against the business, try and get them both to turn around and turn against the government, saying, well, the government's not taking care of the actual problem. And all the while, they're over there pickpocketing everybody over here. It's pretty typical. How am I supposed to care? If I'm sitting here and I'm the one being made to look bad, why should I care about the people who, instead of helping to solve the problem, would rather throw it on me, try to make me look bad, when there's not going to be a result from that to begin with, and that's fine. But it's just that I'm just going to turn to the business. And that's the other thing. And they're like, well, then you don't care about us as citizens because you favor McDonald's over the McDonald's employee. Let me tell you something. I was raised in an environment where you value the employee and you value the people who are putting in the basic labor. no offense, the reason I become more corporate is because of this behavior. Like, because I've been able to turn to corporate. I've been able to say, okay, McDonald's is on my side. It's supposed to be the local employees and we keep it low key, right? We keep it, what's the word? You dissolve the situation by minimizing it and making sure that, by de-escalating the scenario. And then you contact the proper authorities. But they don't do that. They just don't. We used to do that as a country. We used to do that, work together. The little people used to work together, but not anymore. So now I'm literally having to reach out to these corporate entities and deal with people who still operate old school. You know, people who still operate in a way where you do your best to keep it local, keep it minimized, and solve the problem. But I shouldn't have to be reaching out to corporate McDonald's to have a conversation with someone who's been at the company for 40 to 50 years because a local employee had a panic attack because they got a call from a cyber terrorist claiming to be a reputable source and didn't even check with law enforcement. You get what I'm saying? Like, and then they think they're going to pass it off and make it my problem. But it's never going to be my problem. And they don't understand that. The most they're doing is throwing it off onto the local government and local law enforcement. And most of them realistically already know that that's what they're doing. And they are intentionally then throwing it off onto the local government and local law enforcement because they're brainwashed against the local law enforcement, thinking that the law enforcement is a problem against them, when guaranteed this law enforcement that they hate so much, if it wasn't there, the people that they think are their friends would be stealing out of their pockets and putting bullets in their heads on the weekends for fun. So, I rest my case. Yeah, they closed up at like 10, dude. I don't know why. They're supposed to be open till midnight. Yeah, and like literally all through South Carolina, I was looking. All the IHOPs were changing up their hours from like, what were they, 10 and 12 o'clock? Or they were like 12 o'clock, then they changed to 10 o'clock, and then they changed to like 8 o'clock, when IHOPs are supposed to be open 24 hours a day, every day of the week. And they're not even like telling corporate about it. They're not. And why am I exposing them on this? Because they screwed me over big time and then tried to lie about me stealing when I didn't. It really pissed me off. And they thought they were freaking clever too. I had a conversation straight with the right people, and it worked out in my favor, obviously. Staying honest does help. And then I said, not even contacting corporate. And then not only that, but they're not even doing sit-in. Like, they're doing DoorDash only, which, when I tell you, is totally against corporate policy. Like, not even close to being in line with what's appropriate. And they're doing DoorDash and not even letting people be sit-in. And what they're doing, and why these businesses are closing up early, it is their way of trying to fight this epidemic of homelessness that's going on in our country right now. They're trying to figure out how to keep homeless people off their property. And like, they're shutting down Wi-Fi at night at these businesses and everything. I'm not even kidding you. And it's like, it's not illegal what they're doing, but it's against all their company's policies. And they're just not even getting in contact with their corporate entities. You know, they're just making, I don't know if they're making deals with their local governments. My guess is that the local governments don't even know what they're doing. You know, that it's just business flow of what they're doing and here's the crux of it, and here's the problem. And yes, I do know about this, is they're not local businesses. They're chains. Like, you have people to answer to. I told you guys a while ago about Starbucks. And then, like I said, with this IHOP, I can tell you there's already now this one IHOP lady's going to lose her job. And probably 2 or 3 employees, they're all going to lose their job. But realistically, after this situation that I got put through, the likelihood is that the entire IHOP is going to get shut down, because the plaza to begin with is already up for sale and up for lease. So the IHOP probably is going to get shut down due to this situation. And you ain't got to make light of it. Like, it's just done. And they shouldn't have done that to me. I tried to let them know, and they didn't listen. So now, I mean, that's kaput. Now, thankfully, I said local law enforcement was incredible, and that should lead to some friggin' promotions and pay raises, God willing, or at least a bonus or two. Because like I said, when somebody's doing the right thing, you're supposed to get rewarded for it. And when someone's doing the wrong thing, you know, but I put myself out here a little extra so I get some leeway. But a lot of people don't do that. You know, they push themselves to the limit. They be on the wire, and then they try to act like me, or they try to act like they got extra wiggle room, and they don't. You know, and then they end up paying for it, and they look and they say, "Well, why ain't he paying for it? You think I'm not paying for it? You go walk 50 miles. Tell me I ain't paying for it. I'm paying for it my own way. Trust me." All right, continuing on. Yeah, so I went to, what do you call it? The gym just tried to call me again. And I tell you, I was working the gym into my plan, but now they're being a little overly aggressive about trying to get me into their membership, so I just turned them down. I'm not even going to be going. The clientele there, they're kind of nice. It's just, if they're going to be trying to tie me into stuff and they're, I'm good. They're trying to help me is what they're really trying to do. But I just, like I said, one way or the other, I don't think it really fits into what I'm doing. I could spend that money and I could spend that time trying to make myself look good, or I could focus on budgeting and be more worried about, be more focused on saving my money. Because even though the gym's only like $30 a month, but $30 a month is still a lot. $30 a month over 6 months. It's still 100, what is that, 120? $180. $180 is a lot of money. Let's say down the road, I break my phone. Or no, let's say down the road, it's time for me to get a new phone. Well, I'd rather be able to buy a new phone. If I'm in an unhoused position, if I'm in a situation where I am unhoused, I would rather have the money to get a better phone, to get more work done, and have the battery last longer, than be focused on that. Because people are, being in an unhoused position, people treat you with a certain degree of disrespect that you get no matter what. So I would rather, instead of trying to fake that I'm not in this position and be putting all that time and money into the facade of saying that I'm not, I'd rather put the work in, save my money, be able to get a better device. Should they offer me housing? Sorry, some guy's not supposed to be on the sidewalk with his bike. He's being a dick. I would rather just save my money. Makes more sense, Couldn't I do calisthenics, push some squats, etc.? Don't need to go to the gym. No, like I said, right now I'm reserving myself. I have a limited amount of energy. I have a limited amount of money. Right? I'm technically on what would be considered a fixed income. And so I have to budget. And taking my physiological state into account is part of that budgeting. If I'm going to move on beyond the situation that I'm in, I have to think like a nerd. A lot of people be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why don't you get new clothes? Why don't you do this, you do that? Because I don't feel like living on the edge of my seat all day long every day, wondering whether or not I'm going to be poor tomorrow. That's just me. I learned from some of the greats. There's a guy that recently passed. His name was Charlie Munger. His name was Charles Munger. And one of the things I learned from the books that he wrote is you have to have a buffer for yourself, right? And it's partially about your mental health. It's not just about money. So for me, just go. For me, I'm not worried about, for the sake of my mental health, I want to make sure I'm keeping money in the bank. I don't want to have to be some douchebag that pushes people out of the way and gets their asses kicked down the line. I want to be the guy that's smart enough to sit back and mind my own business when I have to and keep my money. I like my money in my pocket. I don't want it anywhere else. Some people say, well, you attract unwanted attention. Well, don't worry. That's what money's for. Somebody bothers you. Well, you can hire a lawyer. It's that easy. We live in a civil world. We don't live in a heathen society, in a heathenistic society. So for me, when I have to handle my business, that's like 1 time out of 10. Don't worry, I know how to do it. But if I don't have to do that, why on earth would I? We live in a society where most of the money that we spend and invest, it goes towards the upkeep of our society. I would rather save that money and put that money into the society I'm living in, and that society in return protects me, and I don't have to worry about the drama. But I have to admit, when I'm even sleeping outside, I look a little bougie. I do. I have my nice weighted butter. I have eye coverings.
when I was trained to protect myself in certain situations. Well, when I was younger, we put on a blindfold, and then when I got older, we just did it in the dark. But so I'm not too worried about anybody bothering me when I'm sleeping. But I put on an eye covering and keeps the light out, and I actually get a good restful sleep. But when I'm sleeping on the street, I don't look like somebody sleeping on the street. I look very out of place, which I'm not really trying to, I don't care. I'm not too worried about it. So I'm going to take a seat here, and it might heat up the phone, but at least I'll just rest until the phone gets heated up. And this is what I'll do. You know what? I don't have anything to do, and I just kind of have to wait. I'll walk around until, I'll walk around, and then I'll take a rest, and then I'll walk around, and I'll take a rest. And all that ends tomorrow. If, depending on whether or not they come through tomorrow is going to be whether or not, what I do. If they come through for me tomorrow, then I don't have to worry about any of this anymore. If they don't come through tomorrow, then I start putting in the work myself. I spend a lot of walking all day. It's good for you physically. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah. I burn. Let's say so I deleted the apps just to save my battery. I deleted the apps that track my steps because they pay you for the steps, but I don't need that money. To tell you the truth, the battery life in my phone is worth more than the money that they pay me to track my steps. So I deleted all those apps, and that saves me like 50% for over an 8-hour period. Gives me like an extra 8 hours to use my phone. What was I saying? Before I deleted the app, that day, and this was a day where I barely walked, okay? This was like a day where I was just like kind of relaxing. I walked 45,000 steps. This is a couple of days ago. It's 2 or 3 days ago. I walked 40,000 steps, and that was a day when I barely walked. So, and that was a day when my foot was like half broken. When I was dealing with those micro fractures, and my body healed them up pretty quick. And some people don't even believe me. They'll be like, dude, you don't get micro fractures and have them heal in 3 days. Well, I do. You want to take me to a doctor and I can prove it, I'll prove it to you. But I do. Sometimes I'll end up with stress fractures and they're healed up in 2 or 3 days. Sometimes they heal up overnight. And it's just the way I treat my body. I pay attention to my body, and I know how to, it's stuff that you learn from experience. It's practices you learn I don't want to say in the field, but it's practices that you learn just having to live a hardcore lifestyle. You learn, you can't afford, I can't afford to have stress fractures in my foot. I can't afford it. And later on, I'll be able to afford it even less. So, I've just learned how to, there's actually certain times a day throughout the 24-hour period a day, there's certain times, and based on your biological clock, that you get sleep, that you'll get more restful sleep. You just got to pay attention to your body. Yeah, I got a blanket. I did, but I got it. I got a nice expensive one, and I keep it in a box, and so I don't look like a homeless person walking. I look a little ridiculous because I have stuff like hanging off my back, but at least I look a little more put together. I try not to look unhoused as much as possible. I try to present myself in a way where I come off as someone that is worth pulling off the street. But like I said, I'm also going to make sure to budget myself, because anything I can do to avoid having to go to the churches and go to Salval to get food, I will avoid that, because once again, it's about mental health. It's a mental health thing, where if I'm around people that aren't taking care of themselves and they're doing drugs and there's all this shadiness going on, then you absorb that. People are suggestible. We're suggestible, and we don't always realize it. And so I try to avoid that environment as much as possible to maintain my own personal discipline and hopefully push myself forward much more quickly, and to be able to stay out of trouble more easily. Geez, you must have to consume a lot of calories to keep going. No, not really. I pretty much run on adrenaline. To be honest with you, I just let my brain do what it does. The human body's pretty resilient, and so I push myself pretty hard. And it works out in the end. It keeps me very, very physically fit. I'm building myself back up to being Olympically fit. And so that's good.
but there are some days where I'll walk upwards of 120 steps a day. So I think my next step, once I get proper housing, whether it's through the county or through just my own due diligence, is going to be looking for, events like walking. I know that sounds silly, but like walking events, because I would totally crush it. So I walk at a runner's pace. Now, when I say I walk at a runner's pace, I don't mean a jogging pace. I walk almost 10. When I'm not fully loaded on here, I walk almost 10 miles an hour. Literally. I probably look ridiculous, but that's just how I walk. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, even if, as I say it to you, I have to think back to being on the treadmill. Like one of those self-powered treadmills that actually tells you how fast you're going. I was on one of those one of those self-propelled treadmills, and I was walking. My pace started out at about 5.5 miles an hour, and by the time I was done, I was at about 10 miles an hour. That I was walking, not jogging, not running, walking 10 miles an hour. So I walk a lot, and I walk really fast. So now with this weight, I'm keeping this weight on my back, and it's making my back a little bit stronger and pushing me a little harder. And then once I have somewhere to put, once I have somewhere to rest my head, I got a roof over my head, then at that point, I will obviously be able to keep stuff at the apartment or in the room, wherever it might be. And because Project Home Key is still a thing. I don't know why they're not reaching out to me. I've reached out to them. But if you are on the street and you're requesting to be put in a hotel room, they're supposed to put you in a hotel room. And so I reached out to them requesting to be put in a hotel room, and they told me that I reached out to the wrong person. So I don't know how that's possible, but I'll be here when you decide to get back to me. So I'm waiting on proper housing. But once I get proper housing here in the area, here in Hollywood, and I also have an ID, so there's no excuse. They can't tell me, because you don't have an ID. I have an ID, so I can be housed. But I can keep my stuff in the room or in the apartment, depending on what I end up getting. And then I'll be able to come out here and not have to carry anything with me. And I'll be that much more ahead of the game. And I'll be able to, like I said, catch up with all the people that aren't supposed to be getting put ahead of me. All these people that are going to end up behind me anyway. I don't know why they're wasting their time putting them ahead of me right now. And for all the times that they put people ahead of me in the past, they're paying for it. It's like they just don't learn. They keep doing it. I don't know why. They're like, we're going to teach them a lesson. And the only thing they're doing is learning a lesson themselves. So there's a lot of people that tried to cut in front of me socially who are now back on the street and don't have any money and aren't getting any government support because they cheated their way in. And most of the people that used to work in those departments either got moved or fired. I can tell you right now that one of the guys that tried to set me up when I was working with Project Room Key before it was called Project Home Key, he is no longer in service. They got rid of him because there are people trying to, cut corners and cheat. And so they ended up getting fired, and the other guy ended up getting moved to he ended up getting moved downtown. So I don't even talk to them anymore for obvious reasons. So, I'm just waiting for somebody to come through and do their job. And if they don't do it by tomorrow, then I'm just writing all of it off. I'm putting it behind me and moving on. Thanks for the follows and the shares. Eyes are so pretty. Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Glad you're well. Thank you. Thanks for the follows. Welcome to Bigo. You work with housing in your state in the Midwest. Usually, they're prioritizing the elderly and those with mental illness. I wish you were telling the truth. God, do I wish you weren't just lying straight to my face. As a matter of fact, that makes me so angry I'm blocking you. Yeah, no, they don't prioritize the mental illness, the people with mental illness and the elderly. No, they don't. They prioritize who they choose to prioritize. In the Midwest, if you go to jail in the Midwest, you know who you see? You see people with mental illness, and you see people who are elderly. That's who you see in jail in the Midwest, just so you know. I can't speak for the bigger cities, but I could tell you in the middle of nowhere, they pretty much just incarcerate people who are either elderly or who have mental illness. And it's that way in the Northeast too. So I don't buy into that. It really pisses me off. Like I said, they put me in housing by tomorrow, I'll shut my mouth. They don't put me in housing by tomorrow, I'll shut my mouth, but then I'm not going to associate with them anymore at all. But for making me wait 2 days, I have a thing or two to say. Because I've obviously waited longer than 2 days. Hello, how are you? You're not going to be teaching me this lesson. This is a lesson I already know. It's going to end up being a lesson that you have to learn. And trust me, I have the wherewithal to endure the time it will take for you to learn it. I don't mind being unhoused as long as it takes for me to meet you on the street and then take the room that was formerly yours when it wasn't supposed to be. I had to do the same thing with moving to California. I was supposed to be able to come live in California in 2017. I had to wait until 2023. I had to wait until late 2022, I believe it was, to be able to move to California when I was supposed to be able to move to California in 2017. So don't you worry. I have the patience. I have plenty of patience. Because now that I'm here, I ain't going anywhere else. I waited long enough. I got mine. And it took me an extra 5 years to be able to, it took me an extra 6 years, almost 6 years, to be able to live in the state that I wanted to live in. So if it takes another 5 or 6 years for me to get a proper housing situation that can't be pulled out from under me, don't worry. I got nothing but time. If we want to defeat the process and not have to deal with all the drama and everything, and you don't want to end up with problems, then you know what to do. But if you like those problems, don't worry. Keep pissing me off. I can just wait. I got plenty of time to wait. You're tuning in to Hollywood, California, in the United States. Thanks for showing up. We got 3:17 to the broadcast, and we're having a real good day today. On that note, I think it's good that we end on a good note. Okay, we had a good broadcast here. I don't want to ruin it on myself. Don't want to ruin it for you. Sometimes it's good to stay humble. You got to know when to get out. You know what I'm saying? And welcome from Australia. Thanks for tuning in. He says, come to the Philippines, US dollars like 15 here. It's actually somebody who lives in the Philippines that taught me a heck of a lot about money and really taught me how to handle myself in an environment with, a lesser amount of resources. So out here, there's a whole lot of resources. I discipline myself interpersonally, intentionally, and the resources that I do have at hand go a lot further. So, some people see me out here and they're like, that's not fair. You're wasting your money. No, I'm making sure I look good. I'm making sure I stay clean. And I might have a little human sweat, but I'm pretty sure that we're all human. And if you got a problem with sweat, then maybe I'm not the one to talk to, because I can tell you that even when I'm in a better position than this, I'm still sweaty. I might get to take a few more showers, but I'm still sweaty. So, it is what it is. Because remember, your legs have to carry the rest of your body. Everybody hates leg day. We all hate leg day, right? But if you don't train your legs, then your legs won't be able to carry the rest of your body. And so for me, I have very strong tendons, right? And my joints and my tendons are very strong. And so my muscles don't look big, but they're very strong. So if you take me into the gym, I can out squat most of these guys. Most of these guys that are 3-4 times my size, I can out squat them. Now that's on maxing. Now reps, no. Reps and sets, no. But 1 rep, 1 set max, I couldn't even tell you how much I could do. I have no idea. But I know it's a lot. It's a good couple 100 pounds. So, I don't even test myself anymore just because my body is past that point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's my random piece of advice for the morning, or the afternoon, I should say. And when you go to the gym, you ain't got to be trying too hard when it comes to what shoes you wear. I know everybody wants to look good in the gym, but for those of us that thrive in adversity, getting yourself just a regular pair of tennis shoes is usually enough. Don't do what I did. When I was around 18, 19, I was training in boots, and I worked out in boots until I was maybe 21, 22. Bad idea. It took me 2 or 3 years to get my feet back to normal, that I'm not having to handle, that I'm not having to be flat-footed. Pleased to know you too. Thank you. So find yourself a nice regular pair of tennis shoes. They don't have to cost more than $100. I see people in the gym that are, they're spending $200-300 on a pair of shoes, and then, it's just, we try so hard to impress each other, but when you're working out, the most important thing is impressing the person in the mirror. If you did better than yesterday, you did good. If you did as good as yesterday, you suck. And if you did worse than yesterday, take a break. And that's my advice. And if you don't like my advice, then don't ask for it. I'll take in as much protein right after a workout, but I try not to have a meal after a workout, just because sometimes it can confuse your body. What I do is I like to starve my body after a workout. I'll have protein after the workout, either a protein shake or just straight meat, just straight red meat or vegan protein. And then I won't have a meal until before I go to bed. And some people say, well, you don't want to be eating before you go to bed because you're going to gain weight. But if you starve your body for the most part throughout the day, and then you get that protein right after the workout, the protein's going directly to your veins. I don't care what anyone says. For an average person, your body does not have the ability to absorb any more than 40 grams of protein. I don't care what a doctor tells you. I don't care what your friends tell you. I don't care what your body tells you if you're an average size. If you're a larger person, you need more protein. That's obvious. But if you're drinking a protein shake that has, say you're drinking 2 protein shakes and you take in 60 grams of protein, I'm sorry, but you're only absorbing about 40 grams of that. And then the rest of it, well, when it comes out the body, there's a reason it's coming out of your body like that. Your body's not absorbing it.
Ooh, I would do that.
Excuse me. Know a lot about this, living the tips. Yeah, pretty much. Am I an athlete? I'm like a layman's athlete, so I put my skills to the test in real life. I'm not to the point of being able to be like a professional athlete or anything like that as far as being socially organized. Am I capable? Absolutely. All I need is the proper structure. But as of right now, I'm kind of just somebody that knows how to keep myself healthy. Never knew all that. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, and what I'm telling you, it's professional stuff. So, be very careful with the advice you take and how you take it so you don't end up in a rough situation. For me, like I said, moving all day for the most part. I really try not to eat too much at all. You see a lot of people out here who are moving all day and then they're having bowel issues and stuff like that because they're eating throughout the day. Well, here's the thing. There's 2 different ways of living, okay? There's the interval lifestyle, right? Where you go to work, you go to the gym, you go home. And then there's people that you're moving all day. If you're moving all day, don't eat like you're living an interval lifestyle. This is my personal advice. If you live the lifestyle of a hunter-gatherer in reference to dietary needs, if you're moving all day, you need to let your body do what it does during the day, and that is burn calories. And then at night, you take them in, before you go to bed. So essentially, you're rewarding your body for the hard work it's doing during the day. I can't speak for people that live an interval lifestyle. I can't. But one is for one, the other's for the other. If you're living an interval lifestyle, well, guess what? You should be eating 3 meals a day, 5 meals a day, 6, 8 meals a day. But if you're moving all day and you eat anything more than a meal a day or 2 meals a day, you're going to end up getting sick. Because that's why a lot of people end up having these digestive issues, because their bodies aren't properly prepared for that. People often end up with digestive issues because they're moving all day and then they're like, well, I'm supposed to eat during the day. If you eat during the day while your body is trying to burn what it's using, you're going to end up having your bowels not working the right way. So essentially, think about it the same as you don't eat a meal when you're working out, do you? When you're at the gym, you don't eat a meal. You wait till after you work out. If you're moving all day, your body is in a state of flux. Your body you're essentially working out all day when you're moving all day. Wait till the end of the day to eat, because your body is expecting that from you. Intermittent fasting when you're at work. Yeah, that's pretty smart. That's a good way to keep the weight off. Any thoughts about 30 years of Power Ranger props? No, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry. Anyway, you might hear me come into the broadcast another day and start talking about something like that. That's not what I'm talking about right now. You know, and I don't do conversational hijacking. You know, like I'm running my broadcast, I'm talking about working out. You come to the broadcast just trying to bring up stuff about Power Rangers. Like, I'm not mad at you, but I'm not, like, it's a vibe thing. You know, like you're either on it or you're not. My broadcasting is very personal. My broadcasting doesn't belong to the audience, it belongs to me. You can guide the conversation, but when I have someone with a personality that's overpowering, that's trying to come into the broadcast and overtake the conversation, that's a personality, clash. Like I don't want someone like that in here, no matter what they're talking about. If it's off the vibe of the topic, then it's not welcome in a broadcast. Oh, okay. So we're going to touch on this real quick. Do me a favor. Don't go to the 7-Eleven that is down by the Netflix place. I want them. I don't care who works there. I don't care who owns it. Don't go there. This 7-Eleven down here, they are polite. They are respectful. They are kind to their patrons, and they are patient. Down at the other 7-Eleven, they are rude. They are pushy, and they try to skis you. They tried to cut me out of not only getting my points, but also using my points, and then scoffed at me when I asked for a receipt. So, I don't like that 7-Eleven. I got a problem with it because they gave me a problem. They made me feel, they belittled me and made me feel insignificant. And I don't want anyone to shop there. So if you're a constituent of mine, if you're someone that cares about me and you shop here in the Hollywood area, do me a favor and starve that 7-Eleven of resources and go to this 7-Eleven right here, because this 7-Eleven is respectful and kind. They don't allow people to hang out outside their building unless it's someone who's in a really tough spot and needs to rest for a little bit. And the other 7-Eleven is just super rude and disrespectful to the point where the Hollywood Partnership oftentimes has to spend time outside of that building just to protect the public. So that 7-Eleven is a problem spot. The Netflix building is, a very prominent place, and they're doing real good over there, the Egyptian Theater. And that 7-Eleven is an eyesore for everybody. So if you want to help out the community, I prefer that you didn't shop at that 7-Eleven. I can't stand that. And if you want to sue me. I'm more than happy to send your entire family bankrupt. But do me a favor and just don't shop there. Thank you. And there's also the point system. They have a point system. Let's say you get EBT. And people don't think about this. If you get EBT, you can still use the point system. You put your phone number in, you put your email in, you can use your government phone. And when you use your EBT at the cash register, have them put in your phone number. You put in your phone number, and then you get points towards the next thing. So instead of costing me $4.50, I use my points, and this cost me $3.50 instead. And that's the government money isn't free money. But you know what is free money? When you shop at 7-Eleven with your EBT card and you get points for it. That's free money. So the change do come in handy when you have to, when you want something for free and you want it actually to be free. Well, those points are on the house. Those points are being paid for by the U.S. government. And so you can use those points to get money off of what you buy in the 7-Eleven. And it's the same with Target and CVS and Walgreens. I got all these points racked up from using my EBT, and that's free money that I get to use for stuff. They say, well, they're tracking you. They're tracking you anyway. They're tracking everything you're doing either way. What's the difference? You might as well get the free money. Sammy says, pretty convenient, won't go to places that are rude. Yeah, like I said, this 7-Eleven on the corner here at Hollywood and the Wilcox, they're very polite and they're very respectful at any time during the day, even late at night. And sometimes even at night they'll run security. So, they're a real kind place. I like going to this 7-Eleven. And like I said, I'm not somebody that likes to frequent a 7-Eleven. I'm like, it's seriously so far outside of my character and my zone of influence. But between the free money and the kindness, why wouldn't I? It's nice to go somewhere where people treat you with respect. And some of these businesses on the walk who don't really, you're cute. I'm staring too. I don't mind you staring. So I'll be here when you come back. That's fine. It was just this young, beautiful woman was giving me the side eye. She was staring at me as she pulled up. And so I looked right back at her, and I did a staring contest with her. And she's looking at me like, what am I looking at you? Why am I looking at her? Well, she's staring at me. I don't mind. I'll be here when you get back. I'll be here. I ain't going nowhere. Guys, if you don't stop trying to penalize me, you're not going to be able to get on the bus for free. There's a lot of stuff in town that they're changing up for when the Olympics show up. And they're documenting every little thing we're doing. I know some of you can't, conceptualize that, or you got a problem with it, or it makes you paranoid, but I'm just telling you how it is. I agree with the old rules of things. I like the old rules of things. But if you see me operating on the books, you might take it as a sign. I'm the kind of guy who likes things off the books more times than not. So if you see me operating on the books, it's for a darn good reason. And I would recommend following suit, just that you're ready for when they change things. When they do change things, we can readapt. But until then, trust me, it's best just to lay low and not be too aggressive with your social behaviors. Because when I tell you they're paying attention to everything we're doing, they're paying attention to everything we're doing. Don't matter if you got a lawyer or not. You won't have a lawyer for long if you keep moving in the way that you're moving. And I'm telling you, they got no mercy. They got no prejudice. You guys know I have international connections. You guys know as an individual how powerful I am, and I'm still living on the street. That's how powerful the U.S. government is. Don't underestimate them, because they don't play. Ever. They don't play. So that's just what I'm going to tell you, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Some people say, oh, you got all these connections. Why don't you do something with it? Guys, this is me doing something with my connections. Like, this is still the part of my lifestyle that, like, this is where my life is at, even with all the connections that I got. Because that is how powerful the U.S. government is. And so I have learned from personal experience that when they say to heal, when the government tells you that it's time to chill out, it's time to chill out. They will push you to the point of madness and have no regrets about it. They really will. So don't play with them. Really, don't play with them. I got old money that surrounds me, and I appreciate them. And it's me being tough as a young individual. I'm not being resistant. I'm not being rebellious. What I'm doing is stand on my ground to protect my predecessors, to protect my elders, because they have had their lifestyle far longer than I've ever been alive. But the changes that we're having in society nowadays do not compare to what we've had in the past. And I think a lot of us can agree with that. We have not had societal shifts like this since the 20s. And I wasn't around for that. I don't know about you, but I wasn't around for that. What I can tell you is they had a protest in New York with the Native Americans, and the U.S. government tried to seize their horses. And I don't know if you know what that means, but that means that they are hurting for money pretty bad, and they're hurting for control pretty bad. So I really do my best not to mess with them. I try to mind my own business and stay in my own lane. And anytime that a spot gets hot, I'm the last guy to leave. And if you want to make a spot hot, that's fine with me. But just realize that you guys are going to go running before I do. I will more than likely end up in cuffs before I ever walk away. And that's why usually I don't end up in cuffs. I find a deal, I make it, and I move on with my day. And I never make a deal at your expense. So I'd much prefer not threatening me with making deals at my expense, because that's just not the way I roll. And I find it disrespectful to both the community and the industry at large.
All I need to do is take my brain off the screen and realize that I am literally just walking down the street. There's nothing crazy special about it. I'm just walking down the street, right? People are going to notice. It's weird. I'm talking to a glass screen, but this is actually real life. People around me know that, right? They're living their life. They're doing their job. They're like, who the hell is this guy? What's he doing? What a weirdo. Of course, because it is weird. It is weird. All right? But who are the actual pioneers? It's the people who are willing to come out in a regular life while everyone else is doing their regular thing and do the weirdest thing. All right? I'm doing the weirdest thing.